gray. Stuck in the gray, yeah, yeah. Stuck in the gray. Stuck in the gray.
Hey guys, it's Asia. Just wanted to come on and let you guys know that this subject might be triggering for some. We do talk about sexual violation and the gray area of consent. Some of you may or may not have seen the Red Table Talk where they talked about this, but I just thought it was a conversation that was worth continuing and definitely having between men and women. So before we start the conversation, I wanted to share a clip from the show on HBO, I May Destroy You, where the main character is in fact talking about that gray area and that feeling and towing that line. And then we'll get into the conversation. So I hope you guys enjoy and learn and hit me with some feedback. Thanks.
It's hard to stop it when it starts off so small. Steve's like that.
Remember, all aggressors.
Oh, it's Bob, sorry. I took Bob aside. I said, can you stop? Barely finished speaking before he's looking all horrified, saying he'll never talk to me again because it's safer. Looking at me like I'm crazy.
Well, Bob probably does think you're crazy. He thinks this is all a little uncalled for and this personal space thing is all going a bit too far. And he's very confident in his view because he's gone exploring to see for himself what boundaries and violations these women might be banging on about because Bob's thorough. And on these explorations, Bob found the line that separated him from everything else. Rather than crossing it, he tiptoed on it. And he experienced this feeling of being on the boundary, on the border, right on the line of being neither in one place or another, and saw how in this grey area, where nothing was quite clear, no one could be clear. We can't articulate, we fuddle our words. We couldn't pinpoint exactly what it was he did that we felt was so wrong. So yeah, Bob thinks you're crazy. Yeah, he thinks he's the smartest man in the room who knoweth all things because Bob has observed the detail. We have to start observing Bob. Telling him. We do see the detail. We see you, Bob. And if we see you, it means we are right there with you, tiptoeing in line, right behind you. And in that place, where rules, clarity, law, and separation cease to exist, we will show you exactly what we mean by violation.
Hi, guys.
You.
Hi.
So welcome back to another episode of the Hershéme podcast. I have my awesome co-host, Mike, with us again today.
How y'all doing, ladies and gents? How y'all doing?
And then I also have one of the kings, Jules, is back with us tonight. And one of the queens, Camille, is back with us tonight. So thank you guys for joining us.
Peace and blessings.
Hey, glad to be here.
All right. And some of you may have or may not have seen the episode of Red Table Talk where they talked about the gray area of consent. And we're just going to kind of delve into that a little bit from the male and female perspective. Okay.
Let's do it.
Yep.
All right. So the conversation was around, like I said, the gray area of consent, where a woman or man, but usually women, find themselves in a sexual situation that they did not 100% agree to, but did not say no. What that looks like is like, it's often been like people have given stories, should I say, of being like, you know, you invite a guy over, it's a lot of heavy petting, a lot of kissing, a lot of touching, a lot of, you know what I mean, physical interaction. And the next thing you know is that next step, right? And then you're like, wait a minute, I didn't actually want to have sex. Like this wasn't my plan. This wasn't,
You know what I mean? Like, I don't really want to do this, but now I've gone too far, right? So I feel like I can't say no, but I never said a clear yes. So I'm just like, you just go through it to get through it. But afterwards, you often have a lot of the same feelings that victims of rape have, where you feel dirty, you feel used, you feel like, oh, why did I do that? I didn't really want to do that. So the question, some of the questions were like, who does the responsibility fall on when that happens? How do you communicate that to the person that you're with if you feel like something like that happens? And other questions like that. So anybody want to run with it? Y'all know I can.
I think as far as the responsibility, I think it's somewhat it's a shared responsibility. Because it's up to the person, I guess, that I won't say, I don't want to use the word victim. That because that's a lot of weight to carry for the other person. You know what I'm saying? For both people. But at the same time, that's the best way that I know to describe it. But for the victim, for you not to speak, that person not to speak up and say, hey, this is absolutely not what I intended to happen or what I want. I think it bears more on that person to say no, but at the same time, I still feel it's still a shared responsibility. But I think more of that weight belongs to the person saying, hey, stop. No, this is not what I wanted.
Okay, so let me interject there, because one of the things that they talked about that I thought was a good point was they were like, women are trained differently than men. And like a man's game, right, is to get you to the yes. So a lot of times it'll start with I'm not really trying to do that. And then he's going to keep coming and keep coming and keep coming. Right. And sometimes that pressure, especially if you know that like you've done a lot of other stuff and you kind of gotten like, it's a very hard line to tell. Okay.
For me, I notice it's the age. When you're younger and you definitely don't know a lot of things, or you're not educated on, I guess, the love language, you kind of go with the flow. And when you get older, you realize, no is no, but some men are still not as mature as they should be, and they think no is yes. So age is a factor. I don't want to indulge too much because there's, like you said, triggers. We'll talk about that a little later. But yeah, I was going on with the age right now.
Yeah, I definitely think that's a thing. I think that, like I said, like boys are trained, taught to get past the no. You know what I mean? Like, oh, she telling you no, like, nah, you just got to keep doing this. You got to talk to her like this and get her to the yes. You know what I mean? And then, but a lot of that can, especially if you're not, as the female, you're not mature yourself. You know what I mean? So you feel like, and don't let it be somebody that you like have feelings for, you care about, or you love, or that's your boyfriend, or somebody who's like finally giving you some attention. You know what I mean? A lot of times it's like, I don't really want to do this, but I feel like I should. I feel like I'm supposed to. I feel like I'm gonna be looked at like I'm a lame, or like I'm a tease, or you know what I mean? Or I'm gonna make him upset, or he's not gonna want to talk to me anymore. And it's like, and that's not 100% something that I think you fully grow out of. I just think that for some women, you get to a point where you have that initial thought, but then you're like, nah, fuck that, I'm done. You know what I mean? But it's not a thought process that fully leaves you. You still sometimes be like, I don't really want to, you know what I mean? And it may not be like the full-on act of sex. It may be something inside of the act of sex. You know what I mean? Like you may not necessarily want to do it that way or do this, or and that a lot of times is hard to convey in the process because nobody wants to be a party pooper. Nobody wants to be a prude.
That is true. There are boys that cannot accept, will not accept rejection. And you're saying to get that far or however far they've gotten, hell, if they get in the door, some people feel, you know what I'm saying, that is, you know what I'm saying, they have gained access to that female. And is, you know what I'm saying, now that I'm here, this is happening. So yes, I do feel that even then still between men and women, age is a factor, but the fact of the matter is no is no. That's what that is.
Easy to convey the no, and that is the problem. Like when they were having the conversation, they brought something that like caught me because it was like, how many times has your partner asked you during sex, is this okay? Right? Like how often as a woman, Camille, does that happen? Does your partner say, is this okay? Or like, is it like, I want to do this, is this all right? Or, you know what I mean? Like a lot of times it's like,
communication, man. I don't mean to cut you off. Communication is the key about all this right here. That's all it is. And and I'm trying to keep it. This is it's very technical. You know what I'm saying? It can be very confusing, but we try to break it down to the basics. Basic as possible. It's all about communication. That's it. No means no. Hands down. Hands down. Now, and that's for male, female, or whatever. But it's really no buts, man. You don't want to put yourself in that position. Fuck all that. You don't want to put yourself in that position. You know what I'm saying? It's all about communication. Who you dealing with? Who you dealing with? Who you are dealing with? Who you are dealing with? I know sometimes it's not that simple. I know that for a fact. But
not enough.
Now I'm gonna have to say because I'm on my second glass of wine. But if a motherfucker don't understand no, then that's a problem. Then you need to go and start defending yourself. That's the thing.
The issue is
but when you're dealing, okay, at the same time, like you said, you know what I'm saying, when you're dealing in a relationship, you know what I'm saying, boyfriend, girlfriend, you know what I'm saying, significant other, you know what I'm saying, spouse, and they were like, hey, you know what I'm saying, they get that, and maybe, or they, you know what I'm saying, they start some shit, and you like, nah, I really ain't feeling it. And you know what I'm saying, the partner, you know what I'm saying, keeps going, like, nah, I really ain't feeling it. And they keep going, and then you like, all right, whatever.
That is the great.
That's something, you know what I'm saying, that's something that is, you know what I'm saying, I understand that's what you're talking about, but at the same time, I understand just because that is your boyfriend, that is your girlfriend, that is your spouse, you know what I'm saying, that does not entitle you. I get that. You know what I'm saying? I believe me, so don't get me wrong, but at the same time, I still feel if that's something that you absolutely do not want to do, you know what I'm saying, either partner, male or female, that should be conveyed.
Exactly.
That's true, but then sometimes you in a relationship, then you know your partner, and you be like, man, I ain't gonna never get no sleep if I don't go ahead and and then you just go ahead, even though you really was like, man, I ain't feeling it. But I'm like, man, let me set him up. Let's go ahead, do what it do, and then you go on with your merry way. It's certain situations that happen, or there's certain reasons why you do some things when you're in a relationship.
But even outside of relationships, I mean, if we're being real, which is what we're supposed to be doing, I have definitely found myself in those situations where like you're not really thinking about it in that sense. It's like they're like, oh, you want to come by, you want to chill, you want to hang out. That's why I don't do that shit anymore. But like, you want to come to the house, you want to chill, you want to hang out, and you're just like, Okay, you know what I mean? And you're not going over there like with the intention of doing anything, right? But you go
Right.
and you're like, oh, I'm thinking that you just want to spend more time with me, or you just want to have face-to-face, one-on-one time with me, one-on-one time with me. But
That's what you thought.
that's really what I
Usually,
didn't say as a grown woman. I said,
Okay.
that's it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, okay. 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 All right. Netflix and chill.
back
Go ahead.
then, yeah, usually that's what you think. You're
Yeah,
like,
you're
oh,
like, oh
cool, we
my
can kick
God, he
it,
just
get to
wants to
know each
hang
other.
I
out.
mean,
You know
I'm
what I
just
mean?
saying.
He wants to chill. He wants to like meet. And especially if you have, like, I didn't have the best self-esteem. I was not, you know what I'm saying? I was not used to having a lot of male attention. So it was like, oh my God, like he wants to hang out with me. It didn't honestly cross my mind. You know what I mean? And then you're there. And it starts off slow. It's never like cause jumping on you is a lot, right? So it's never like that jump. It's like that, oh, you want to smoke? Oh, you want to chill? You know what I mean? Then they get a little closer to you. Then then it's a little bit of rubbing. Then it's, a little kissing. And then the next thing you know, it's like a hand up your shirt. And you're like, what the fuck is happening right now? And it's like you freeze. I froze. You know what I mean? And in that moment, it was like, especially with my past traumas, it was like, if I say something right now, if I stop this, you know what I mean? Like inside, I'm like, oh, right? But I'm like, if I do something, this situation could go from bad to worse a whole lot a whole lot faster. So it's a lot easier to just say, all right. You know what I mean? Like she said, that thought of like, fuck it. It's not something that just happens when you're in a relationship. It happens in those situations. And it's not, I don't look at that person and think that he raped me. You know what I mean? That's not what that was,
It's
right?
just you didn't want to do at the time.
As something I didn't really want. I wasn't trying to really go there. You know what I'm saying? Because for me, it was like, I'm not just my body. Like, I'm more than just my body. You know what I mean? And I knew that going there that quickly would change elements of the situation that early, at that age. You know what I'm saying? And so, but it was like, I honestly, and when that type of shit happens, you do exactly what victims of abuse do. You internalize that shit. You take that shit onto yourself. And you're like, well, this was my fault. Like, I deserve this. Like, even though I feel disgusting, even though I feel like I was just a body, I'm like, I went over there. I did let him kiss me. I did let him touch me. You know what I mean? I was there. I was there. And when you look back at, like I said, that conversation, really watching that video was like, oh shit, this is the thing. And it's not just me. For me, it was like, I realized there was no conversation on his part. There was never that moment of like, do you want to do this?
Yeah, I never had them conversations. Do you want to do this?
No.
Really?
It was like, I like, there was a girl in the video who described having a moment where she ended up losing her virginity, where like, it was her boyfriend and they were kissing and they were hugging and they were all over each other. And then she was like, is that your penis? And he was like, yeah. And then he put it in. I have been there. You know what I'm saying? And you're like, oh, wait, how did we get here? You know what I mean? Like, this is not, wait a minute. You know what I mean? This is not where I was trying to go with it. Like, I was on the edge, but I wasn't quite trying to walk all the way across the bridge. But you feel like, well, shit, I'm already here. I don't have a choice.
Okay. So I understand. I get all that. I really do. And I understand. Okay, first we're talking about category of age, right? So you're very young at this time, teenage, right? Roughly adolescence. You're still learning about the world. Now, don't make it.
But some of this happens.
I'm trying to say this as far as in not to shame or not to more of educate, because it seemed like that's a lot of those insecurities and not having the proper understanding
Guidance.
of self, and or you know what I'm saying, or the not really understanding what's going on at a point in time, as far as with you sacrificing yourself. Like, dang, I don't want to, because I'm trying to. It's everything kind of start with self, right? Everything start with self. At that age, I tell my daughter all the time, you always want to keep the ball in your court. Always. Always keep the ball in your court. So if it's something that you don't want to do, you don't have to fucking do it. Don't let anybody. I don't care if your heart is telling you. If even your father, your dad is telling you something, but you feel something in your heart, don't fucking do it, and you fight to not do it. I don't give a fuck if a motherfucker. I'm on my third glass of wine, so I'm cussing. I don't care if it's a person telling you to go right 3 times. If you don't feel like going right that third time, you take your ass left, and nobody can stop you. See, and I think that's what it boils down to. See, at that young age, just it's not
You
a
said
lot
it
of
boils that
guidance.
as far as that goes, it boils down to immaturity at the age, and you're saying
Right,
the lack
but
of
not even
knowledge.
not even
You know what I'm saying?
immaturity and guidance.
Well, see
Maybe there
that's
wasn't
you know what I'm
nobody
saying.
that was there. Nobody probably wasn't there to tell you, like, honey, baby, you ain't got to do that. You
But
don't.
that's a level, you know what I'm saying? But that is a level of maturity. You know what I'm saying? You learn those things as you mature. You learn
True.
those things
True
as you know
enough.
what I'm saying, as
True
you
enough.
get older, you mature into that age. You know what I'm saying? At that point, you know what I'm saying, at some of at young ages, you know what I'm saying, young women more
It
so
doesn't.
than
You're
men
right, and it doesn't make it
because
right.
men because boys, you know what I'm saying, more so at that age or the aggressive lives, you know what I'm saying, being young,
Absolutely.
yeah, or the aggressors. Um, it's just that level of maturity. Not knowing how to say no, wanting to feel, you know what I'm saying, be accepted, not wanting to, you know what I'm saying, have that stigma. And now you're in a situation that you don't know how, or they don't know how, or however, you know what I'm saying,
I
to
wish I
navigate
could
out of.
consistent on that. Because now it brings the question, because I'm learning. I mean, because I'm not a female, and I've been a young boy. You know what I'm saying, and you know what I'm saying, just out there doing whatever. You know what I mean. Not to a point fact I was forcing myself on anybody, no shit like that, no dumb shit like that. But boys, I mean, it's no excuse. But I would say this: it means a lot when there are fathers that are there. I'm not saying that I don't know if your fathers or any male role models that was, there. You know what I'm saying? To
Mhm.
actually, because it's a thing with confidence as well. Because just want to be accepted by that other male part or that female part, just want to be accepted. And at the end, by the time everything is gone, it's like you really didn't feel like doing that shit at all. But it's that wanting of acceptance that you sacrifice yourself.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? And it's true enough. It is with maturity comes that too, but it's also there with someone being there that is that protector. You know what I mean, of the male sex. Like, yo, you know what I'm saying. You don't have to do that shit if you want to. You don't. No means fucking no. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. Or just being put on the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, don't go over that. No, you don't have to go over there. Tell them meet you somewhere else or whatever the situation. But I'm not saying that make it any less, because shit like that can happen anywhere. You know what I'm saying? But to kind of mentally prep, you know what I'm saying? For a situation. And I'm talking about as a young lady, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Roughly, I'm talking roughly teens, maybe even early 20s, maybe mid 20s. You know what I'm saying? That right there is a lot of insecurities, confidence, wanting to be accepted. You know what I'm saying? Wanting to be loved. You know, girls are different from guys when it comes to that.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm learning. You know what I'm saying, from that. But I think it really resonates from that. I don't know if, you know, I'm pretty sure. You know, I don't know if your fathers were there. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's none of my business. You know what I'm saying? But
Mhm.
I think that has a lot to do with it too. That it's that missing void. It's that void of that male confidence, that male You don't have to do that. You know what I'm saying? Is you okay without that, the acceptance, and just looking for that other male part to accept you as a young woman or as a female. You know what I mean?
But the flip side, and I agree with you 100%. The flip side of that is, I feel like we need to teach young men
That is true.
how to
Absolutely.
check in.
Absolutely.
Like how to, because you know, some people don't know how to read a room, so they don't know how to read a situation. But I think we need to teach the language of checking in. Like, I'm sorry, I don't think that it kills the vibe. Like, people try to put that on, like, oh, it's gonna kill the vibe. It's gonna no, like, as it's never actually happened to me before, but I can only imagine what it would be like for someone to say, "Is this okay?" You know what I mean? Like, and if I'm good with it, that has to feel like freeing. You know what I'm saying? Like, that has to feel like.
I feel like that you should automatically do that though. That's just me, because it's both of us. That's just me. That's just me. That's just me how I roll. You know what I'm saying? And the same thing, I teach. You know what I'm saying? Because there's two people involved in that. There's two people. There's two people involved in that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not here to make anything worse for you. If something doesn't, if it hurts or doesn't feel right, let me know. Tap. Look, we need to chill, stop, whatever, take a break, whatever the situation may be. Because at the end of the day,
glass of water, peanut butter jelly sandwich. Let's go.
That's all right. Guess what? Want that goddamn sandwich. And if you want to keep on going after that, here, baby, we're gonna rub that peanut butter on your back. Or whatever the situation gonna be. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I mean? It's just, I think and that comes with maturity too. That comes with maturity and wisdom. You know what I'm saying? You can't expect young kids to even really go. Not a lot of them.
But now, you know what I'm saying, even with that because, and I mean, talk with kids because, and I agree, you know what I'm saying, most kids talking about kids, you know what I'm saying, checking in, they'll be like, you all right? They're gonna be like, because they're scared of that rejection. They'll be like, yeah, and they're gonna keep going anyway. So now you're still in that gray area. But as you know what I'm saying, those future adults, how do you come back, you know what I'm saying, to teach, you know what I'm saying? Because you have to, I guess, start teaching males at a younger age, you know what I'm saying, how to accept rejection. Because now because you get in that situation, like I said, as young males checking in and they're saying, like I said, accepting rejection. The nigga's like, nah, I really don't want to do this. You know what I'm saying?
It's not just about teaching them how to accept rejection, because I definitely think that's part of it, but it's also teaching them the conversation around consent, period. You know what I mean? Like
pornos. Say no to pornos.
Making that a conversation, like, about consent, about checking in. Like, I talk to my boys all the time because my Josiah is 3 and he's a rubber, and it drives me nuts. Like, he will lay next to me and just like rub my arm or whatever part of my body is closest to him, he's gonna start rubbing on. And I have to constantly, reiterate that conversation to him that, like, sometimes you cannot touch people without their permission. You know what I mean? Like, if someone, and I'm like, sometimes it might happen by accident or whatever, but and also understand that if someone says no, you have to stop. So and he's 3, so it's like there's so far you can go with that conversation. But I have that conversation with my 6-year-old too, where I'm like, you can't know that I know that's your sister, but you cannot touch her like that. You know what I mean? You cannot touch people or you know what I mean? Of course you have the inappropriate touch, the no places, whatever, but it's just like invading someone else's space in general.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you must always receive consent. I would rather my son be the type to be like, is it okay if I touch you? Like, you know what I'm saying? Is it all right if I touch you here? Can I kiss you there? I'd rather him be having that conversation. You know what I mean? And Shirley's like, I said it was okay. I'd rather him have that moment than be touching someone and they're like, you know what I mean? Because I know what it is to be on the other side of that. So I think it's an important conversation, but I also recognize that like
I think
that conversation would be more impactful. I feel like I think
you're
that
absolutely
it would
right.
be more
You're absolutely
impactful if
right.
it came from a man.
You're absolutely right. I think that's all comes a part of being a gentleman. You know what I mean? Being a gentleman. Yo, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, at the end of the day, I really do believe that we need to protect our women. I really do. I really do. At the end of the day, I think we need to protect our women, and that's all. You know, I think
Absolutely.
those attributes really need to be installed not only to boys, but you know what I'm saying, to young women. Because these days, you got some young women out there who just as damn aggressive as the boys, for sure.
It happens.
So it needs to be taught
happens.
all day. It needs to be taught on both ends. But as far as like on the male perspective, yeah, to teach your men that it's okay still to be a gentleman. Ain't nothing whack about that. There ain't nothing lame about that. Because at the end of the day, that's somebody's mother.
Keep your ass out of
That's
jail.
somebody's sister. That's somebody's auntie. That's somebody's baby cousin. That's somebody that could be your sister, your mother, you know, your cousin, or whatever the situation may be. You know what I'm saying? And there ain't nothing wrong with being a gentleman, man. That's being a gentleman is all about still being a man, but you being gentle towards your women. That's it. Or your woman.
I mean, we talking about consent. So you know what I'm saying, and this is far in spectrum, but it actually happened. So this chick was engaged, you know what I'm saying, in this whatever sexual act they was doing. It was her and these, you know what I'm saying, two guys. You know what I'm saying, she was doing her thing. Well, the friend asked, you know what I'm saying, was like, hey, is it okay if my friend come in? And she was like, yeah, as long as he stopped when I say stop. Dude was like, cool. So they start. Well, she said stop. And for about, and literally, this is what's on the documents. It was like 10 seconds after she said stop, he was, you know what I'm saying, got him a couple more strokes, and he was like, hey, I mean, you really want me to stop? She was like, yeah. He was like, okay. And he stopped. That guy went to jail for rape. For 10 seconds.
You can't play with it, man. You can't
so I mean, he's having that conversation. And it's like, you really like, cause I mean, you know, we grown. You get that stop, but that don't mean stop.
Yeah, you know what? They talked about that in the video too, and like I 100% agree with it. Like the whole somebody asked the question like, well, how do I know if a woman really wants me to stop or if she's just playing hard to get? Like, women have to stop that shit. Stop that shit. They have to stop that shit. Like, don't use the fucking word if you don't mean it. You know what I mean? Because it's like crying wolf. You're gonna mean that shit one day, and he's not gonna take you seriously, or whomever is not gonna take you seriously. Like, that shit has to stop. Like, that shit right there, like, that's a lot. That's like, I could get both sides of that situation when she's like, I said stop. You don't get a couple more strokes in because I said stop. You know what I mean? But in his mind, he's like, I'm mid-stroke. Like, I'm trying to stop my flow. You know what I mean? So it's like, I get both sides of it, but it's like,
you know what?
Once she said those words out of her mouth, he had a decision to make. He didn't make the right one. You know what I'm saying? Like, he had a decision to make in that moment, and he tried to push through the no. You get what I'm saying? He tried to push through the no. He tried to turn that no. Because if she said no, you sure you really want me to stop? That's you trying to push through the no. You know what I mean? So,
boy, is he asking a question though?
No, he asked me a question. No, she said stop. Like I said, for whatever, and this is an actual case. Yeah. She said 3 to 5 seconds after she said that. This is in these documents. 3 to 5 seconds. He asked, I mean, you mean stop? Like, for real, stop? And she was like, yes. He was like, okay, like, all right. I don't want no problems. He stopped.
So
I'm like,
that's the thing. See, this is the thing, and they're keeping that shit 100. For men, you can't even play with that shit. You can't. Because regardless, you can have the best intention and do what the fuck you think you're supposed to do, or do what you're supposed to do. At the end of the day, it ain't gonna look good on you regardless. It's not. And it's just being a man. You might, it's even hard even trying to think about. Sometimes you got to think about the shit that you get into before you even get into it. As much as your dick want to do it, sometimes you got to be like, nah, nigga, I'm just gonna keep that shit moving. Like on some real shit, because I ain't going to jail over I'm not going to jail over no confused person. I'm just not. I'm not doing it. I'm not risking my life for no confused person who don't know what the fuck they want to do. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not. If I can pick up them signals that you don't know what the fuck you want to do, okay, I gotta make a decision for you. I'm gone. I'm out. I can't do that shit. No, bright colors don't look good on me. Hell no, I ain't doing that shit. You know what I'm saying? Fuck all that.
So you don't look good
get your mind together. Better yet, once you get your mind together, don't call me no more, because you can't make up your mind what the fuck you want. We can be friends all day. But I can see my level that your ass is indecisive and don't know what the fuck you want. Until you figure that out, we cool, we good. No loss, no love lost, boo-boo. This ain't over here. Good.
See that, and that's the thing. You know what I'm saying? And even he said that shit. And even with that, you know what I'm saying, you get the no that means yes. You know what I'm saying, the stop that means don't stop. So
I still say err on the side of caution.
I'm not saying no. But I'm saying as a young adult, male young adult, unaware of what signals mean what, or you know what I'm saying, how to read body language, because again, I would say most men will not and don't know how to. You end up in, you know what I'm saying, in that situation because you don't know that the no means no, or the stop does mean actually stop. So you end up fucked on that end because you be like, she said no, but she was, you know what I'm saying, came out the shower ass naked. That means yes. No, nigga, that is not what that meant.
That meant you listen to what she said out of her mouth.
Right.
Err on the side of caution.
You telling somebody young.
Yo, Michael, on that's the shit I be talking about right there. That's that bait shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, she's saying no, but you ain't gonna come outside naked. I'm saying you have every right, but that's some shit. You can't. I'm seeing one thing, but you telling me another thing. For me, that's me get the hell out of Dodge. All right, that shit ain't right. This don't make any sense. This don't make any sense for me. You know what I'm saying? Like and we got to teach our sons that.
Yeah.
We got to teach our sons that, hands down. We got to, because it's and I get what you're saying, but it's just plain and safe. Because you don't, I'm just being honest. You never know what the intent is. You never know what the intent is. Yeah. Because you're not reading her mind. She's telling you no, but she's going to sit in your lap and she got her ass cheeks on your lap. You're a man. You know what I'm saying? Hey, shit gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? So now she putting the ball in your court. You know what I'm saying? The ball is in her court regardless. The ball is in her court regardless. Because you can't do nothing without her. You know what I'm saying? But when this goddamn scoreboard don't look right for the play at hand, I knew I took about 6 shots, but I only seeing 2 points on that son of a bitch. Something ain't right. I need to know. Nah. You can't.
I would do. Err on the side of caution.
All that blood rushing from up here down here. Sometimes
I think you misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm not saying do it, but what I'm saying is you are talking about young adults, adolescent males, you know what I'm saying, that are in these situations.
I get
it. They don't understand, you know what I'm saying, error on the side of caution.
We have to start
we teach them, but they're in those situations where
I know.
Hey, no, I don't want to do this, but hey. She walking around ass naked. She telling me no all day, but she walking around ass naked.
And that's a dual-sided battle that you're gonna have because you're also gonna have you have to have the conversations with your sons. Like I agree, like what Jules said, and be like, nah, if you can't tell for sure, like then just say no. But you also gotta have the conversations with your daughters and be like, don't be doing that stupid ass shit. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Don't be.
You're not ready to do it. Don't do it.
Exactly.
And that's what I said from the beginning. To make that type of communication, to make that known. If that's something you absolutely know in your mind that you do not want to do, that should be made absolutely clear. You know what I'm saying? There should be no ifs and buts about it. This is not what I want to do. So that way, when the other person, whomever, male or female, crosses that line, you have crossed, you know You know what I'm saying? Now you face legal action because you have done something I have definitely told you I did not want to do or engage in.
Nigga, you going to jail.
Exactly.
You going to jail.
But like, I mean, and
that's,
I
and
agree
you know
with
what I'm
that
saying?
100%.
And that's if my
I
daddy
just
don't
think-
find you first.
Yeah, I agree with, like I said, you know, I agree with all of that. But I do just think that it is important for it to be understood that not everybody is there. Like, as somebody who wasn't there, and I didn't grow out of that phase like when I turned 20. Like, I grew out of that phase in the last couple of years. You get what I'm saying? Where you find yourself, and I was an adult. You know what I mean? I was grown, a full-on adult, and still had those like, all right. You know what I mean? So it's a conversation that you have to have. I think it is a conversation that we as women have to have amongst each other. You know what I mean? We have to check in with each other and encourage that. It's a conversation that men need to be having amongst each other too. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, because this type of shit, yes, we know it starts young, but it does not end there. You know what I mean? So it's like, do you know when a woman is not interested? Do you know that body language is 50% of the situation? You know what I mean? Like, so she could be saying, okay, but if she's saying okay and she's sitting there like this, she don't want to do that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's just probably going along to get along. Like, one of the things that the player that they had on there said that he had to do was, he said he had to go back through his encounters and relationships with people and ask questions, because it made him realize, like, he was like, no, I know I never like assaulted anyone, but it never occurred to me, like, did I make you feel uncomfortable?
Mm-hmm.
Did you feel pressure from me?
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, and in having those conversations and getting feedback from women, it made him more, it made him more aware, because he was like, wow, I didn't even realize. And he's like, and I'm advocating for this thing, and I didn't even realize that I was really doing it.
But that comes again, him doing that is maturity. For him to go back and have that conversation, that, you know what I'm saying, requires a certain level of maturity for him to engage in that conversation with his past encounters. There are not a lot of people that, you know what I'm saying, that are willing to go back and have those type of conversations.
Yeah, but even still, I would say, because, you know, this is about pushing information out, right? So it's like, even if you're not at a place where you're comfortable enough to go back and have those conversations with people, you should be having that conversation with yourself, really asking yourself, really playing through those situations as many as you can remember in your head, and asking yourself. And then, even if it's not clear for you, then this is an opportunity to course correct going forward. You know what I mean? You know, going forward, that you need to exercise some checking. You know what I mean? You need to say, you know what I mean? And even though it might seem trivial, even though it might seem annoying, even though it might seem unnecessary, right? Better to have done it, and both of you can walk away feeling like, we good, I'm good, he good, you know what I mean? Than to have to be like, you should never have that question. I feel like you should never walk out of that bedroom and have a question. You know what I mean? I'm like,
or the elevator.
That blows the whole mood right there. That blows the elevator. My conscience in
Wherever you was at, you should never walk out of that encounter.
I'll be calling if you good? You straight? Okay. You need something to store?
Like, the only question you should have, I feel like walking out of those situations, the only question you should have is,
you need a drink of water?
Do I want to do it again?
Oh, okay, my bad. Okay.
Do I want to do it again?
My bad. I'm saying wrong question.
Like, on some real, yo. Like, for my conscience, I can't. I grew up with a whole bunch of women. I can't. That will fuck me up personally.
But okay, this is what I'll say. I've been in that situation, but I've never been in that situation and felt like there was malice on the other person's behalf. Like, I never felt like they were intentionally trying to do something to me, or that in their mind that they were trying to hurt me, or trying to make me feel uncomfortable, or trying to take my choices away. right? I never got that feeling. It was always like he just wasn't paying enough attention to me. That was it. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't clued in to me. He wasn't checked into me. He wasn't paying attention to me. And so I would never, like, a lot of times I just would never do it again after those type of situations happen. Like that was it. You know what I mean? Like it was a one and a done. You know what I mean? If it was that, if I could, or if it was a relationship, you know, there'd be like a lull. You know what I mean? Before we did anything again, it would definitely be a gap in that type of interaction with them. But I can say, like, and you hear a lot of those women say, you feel the feelings that you feel. You feel ugh.
So
but it's not
you ever
necessarily an
express yourself
anger
to your
towards
partner?
him.
Did you ever
Huh?
express yourself to your partner? Did you ever express yourself to him about that?
When I was younger, no.
Because right now, we're in an age of instant gratification. There is a lot of access to what we as children didn't have access to. And I'm saying, since my mama will never watch this, I don't think she will. She might, you know what I'm saying? But sneaking in her room and watching videotapes, you know what I'm saying, and rewinding them, you know what I'm saying, them VHS tapes back to where I think she stopped at, you know what I'm saying, or my dad.
Was afraid.
Right there. That's, you know what I'm saying, hey look, hey look, shh, don't tell me. That's why I said she might not watch this. So, you know what I'm saying? That's what we were doing. We didn't walk around with, you know what I'm saying, porn in our pockets. You know what I'm saying? And that's what these kids have now. And they see this and they're like, okay, this is what I want to do. And now with that mentality of instant gratification, when you say, hey, come over and let's chill, dudes, some females, you know what I'm saying, they have that in mind. And their goal is to, you know what I'm saying, your sports analogy, their goal is to score. So they're doing whatever they have to do. So, and they're ignoring, and even if the female goes along, you know what I'm saying, it's giving them those signs of, okay, I really don't want this to happen. They're ignoring those signs because their ultimate goal is to score. So we have to go back to what both of y'all were saying before. It's communication, and we have to teach both parties involved, male and female, to communicate that this is absolutely what I do not want. And if you cross that line, bruh, sis, you're going to jail because I said I didn't want this.
That's a fact. That's a fact.